What's up, guys? I'm here live from sunny Israel right now. It's freaking hot. I don't know why I chose to sit here in the heat, but I wanted to step in on a live real quick and talk about the current conflict. So, one of the things that we need to remember and keep in mind is the fact that this is a region that is big and significant, but it's also small in the greater scheme of things when it comes to superpowers, right? The US, Russia, obviously, for all intents and purposes, America is at war with Russia. NATO is at war with Russia, whatever you want to say. There is peacocking and, strife for superpower position, also with China as well. But right now, it's really and it has been planned to be against Russia, U.S. versus Russia. The Middle East is no different. Syria has significant strongholds inside of Syria. Essentially, I mean, Syria is really just a Russian country for pretty much. I mean, obviously, they have their independence, but they've needed Russia for their backing and their security to keep some remnants of stability there. So U.S. is or Israel is essentially a proxy of the United States hegemony over the world. Okay, so that's something we need to remember. So all the talk of, even the Democrats, Republicans, certain factions of Congress saying, oh, Israel is this, Israel's that, we don't like them, we like them. At the end of the day, the State Department is always going to be on the side of Israel because not because they're compassionate towards Israelis, not because they're compassionate against Israel. They don't even really think that way. They think of it like, military, right? The State Department thinks of it from a military conquering perspective, and they don't want Russia to have their foothold in the Middle East. They want to have more of an influence in the Middle East. The U.S. wants more of control of the Middle East, and Israel is a stable ally in the Middle East, and that's kind of been said, but nobody really, I guess, expands on that. They're admitting the fact that there is a battle for control over the Middle East. There always has been, there always will be. If you get out of line, if you choose the wrong side, or you choose to, behave independently and act like an idiot, then one of the superpowers comes in and says, "Hey, can you just please stop doing that?" And if you don't stop doing that, if you don't do as you're told, then you get put in your place and you get taken. Consequences happen. So this is something that honestly gives me more comfort rather than the compassionate perspective, because people want to look at it from a perspective of, oh well, they're just looking out for another democracy, they're looking out for their fellow maybe citizens that live here, or these strong ties. It's really, I mean, I don't really buy that, and I don't think that that is a good reason. I think of the best reason for a superpower that is being backed by another superpower, which is Russia. Obviously, Russia and Iran have gone closer together, and by proxy, Hezbollah, looking out for the best interest. If supporting Israel looks out for the interest of the United States, then that is the best position that Israel should be in. The fact that they are deemed valuable from a strategic perspective, not from a compassionate perspective. I don't care about the compassion. The compassion comes and goes. People feel one way one time. If you can follow your best interest, and Israel still has the backing of the United States military, the United States, even just for diplomatic reasons, I think that that is more important than any other backing. Because at the end of the day, moving on to kind of the next topic, Iran, I think that Iran, the Islamic regime, excuse me, I want to make sure I use the proper wording, because this is an evil regime that is taking control of a country that doesn't have complete support. There are factions, small factions, that do support the regime, but obviously there's a large vocal population in Iran that does not support the regime. So the fact that one, Iran, the Islamic regime has been completely embarrassed by Israel and has still not done anything, just shows the amount of fear they have of Israel. and they're making excuses for it. They're trying to hide the truth over what's happening, over downplaying the the offensive actions from America, and hyping up their actions against Israel. So if they were going to do something, they would have done it already because they've been embarrassed. And a lot of people say, a lot of the Pali gangbangers, a lot of the people that are pro-Islamic regime, the Muslims, the leftists, the Palestinian whatevers, they can't really accept that fact, and a lot of the times they say that, oh, Israel's dragging the U.S. into another war. The reality is, I think that Iran doesn't feel like it can take on Israel by itself. I mean, Israel clearly has air superiority. It can act without any sort of significant restrictions in Iran right now. They've shown that again and again. And then also, even when they try to position their military or add additional resources to inside of Syria, put it on the border of Syria against Israel, every time that happens, Israel intercepts it, they bomb it, they make it very difficult to add additional resources to Hezbollah and the Islamic regime's forces. So it's really hard to fight a war with a country that is that far away from you, and you don't have air superiority. And on top of that, Israel has intelligence inside of Iran that is unmatched. So the reality is, there's no way of winning this war for Iran. There is literally no way. And even, and I'm saying that without U.S. involvement. This is not a traditional war where you have these bordering countries going at it. If you are fighting a war against a country that is that far away, you don't have air superiority, and you have this weak of intelligence within the country that you are trying to attack, I mean, you're pretty much you're screwed. And I don't say that arrogantly. I don't say that as like, it's going to be easy, and Israel should just fight for, without any sort of restrictions or whatever. I say that as just, being a realist, right? So one of the things you have to ask yourself is, why do they want to do this to Israel? Why? What is with this hate, this level of hate, this level of animosity? It's even hurting themselves, and even putting them in a position where they are clearly not in a favorable position to win a war, but they continue to be pushing forward with this stupid religious desire, right? Now, one of the things, good and bad things, I mean, there's no real objectively everything good things in the Middle East. It's all a bunch of like mixed good and bad things. The attack against Iran, or against the attack from Islamic regime versus against Israel that happened a few days ago now, gave Netanyahu essentially the license to act. Now, this is the worst thing you should have given Netanyahu if you're the Islamic regime, which is essentially diplomatic approval to attack Iran. And the nice thing is, and whether this is good or bad is kind of mixed, right? The nice thing is this was a war, this was an attack that had a ton of ballistic missiles. Looked like they dropped. The footage coming out is just awful. Obviously, a lot of those were in open areas. The what do you call it? The defense intercepting systems let the ones that are going to fall in open areas fall. So the nice thing is it looked bad, and I had a lot of people, and I know this because I had a lot of people hitting me up in America being like, hey, are you okay? And like, I really appreciate it, but it looked bad. So people are like, dang, like if Israel does something, I wouldn't even really, blame them, because look, that looked really bad. It looked like, some Israeli drivers. For those Israelis, you know how that goes. So, man, Middle East driving. This is what you get. So, yeah, what was I freaking saying? God dang it. So yeah, so now Bibi's in a good perspective. What was kind of interesting and people didn't really speak about was the fact that Bibi had a press conference and addressed the uh, addressed the Iranian people and said, "Hey, we know you are in." And by the way, I mean, Bibi's like Benjamin Netanyahu is no, he has that white hair. He has some experience. He's not a dummy. He knows what he's doing. He's multiple steps ahead. Whether you like him or not, I'm not saying I agree with every move he makes. I'm just saying he does things very intentionally, right? Now, one of the things that I realized that he was doing was essentially being like, "Hey, Iranian people, we see you. We understand that you're being oppressed by this regime, this evil regime." And by the way, that is true. There's a lot of things that are true that heads of state, leaders tend to just not say. And this was a good one. I think it was partially because of genuine compassion, but I also believe it's kind of a public proclamation and public proclamation and saying to the world, hey, I'm letting everybody know, if you didn't already know, if you were living under a rock, the Iranian people don't like their leader. So if we attack their leader, don't feel that bad about it, is what I think was happening there. I don't know if you guys agree, but that's what I think he was saying. He's essentially getting, what do you say? You getting the softening of the turf. A lot of, if you go and do a military action into a territory, you try to soften it up. You get rid of targets before your invasion. I think that Bibi was doing this and saying, hey, if we take this dude out, if we take this regime out, don't feel bad because the Iranian people are on our side, which is true. A lot of Iranian people, I have a lot of people hit me up, thanks for speaking out about this. And I hear you and I feel you. And just based off of what I see, statistics, just things that you can observe, objectively, that, well, one, a lot of the resources that should be going to people, helping the citizenry improve and develop, has been going to developing a militia that is miles away from your own country. Like that, even just looking at it logically, my government is taking that much money away from my people, and it's not like you have this, these trillions of dollars to go around, like billions of dollars towards a militia to take out a country that, before this revolution we had pretty good ties with Iran. It doesn't make sense. That's one of a million reasons, but I just wanted to speak on that. End of the day, I think that things are going to shift a little bit. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what they're going to do. I think that hitting the nuclear sites is a good idea. I think that hitting the oil refineries, I don't know if that kind of hurts the people as well. Kind of hurts the local population. So me being kind of a softie, I go towards more strategic leadership, coup, or nuclear sites. But I don't know. There's people much smarter than me at the head of the government and the IDF. So whatever they choose to do, I think that I trust them, I guess, as much as I can trust the freaking government. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below. Yeah, so I guess reviewing it, I'm not worried about Israel and U.S. ties. I think that U.S.'s self-interest is at the end of this, which is the U.S. wants control. They want Israel to do their bidding against Russian proxies in the region, and will continue to do so no matter what, because they don't want to lose that top spot. And when I say they, I mean me. Obviously, I'm American, but it's just interesting to look at things from a different perspective. So I'm out, y'all. Stay blessed. Peace.